going through is grieving,
Totally.
like a season.
Yeah. Does anybody else feel like this? Like, why is this so hard for me? Because nobody really like talks about it.
Yeah.
What do you do after that? Or like, who are you after that? Because it's like,
Without
right.
that
Who
title.
am I without that?
She's like, I'm not pretty anymore.
Yeah.
If I'm not pretty, then who am I? Girl.
That resonates.
You know?
I'm like, I just look ugly all the time. It's like as if I wasn't suffering enough.
No, and then now I have a physical
Let's
reminder.
sprinkle the weight gain.
No. She looked at me and she was like, Kaylin, your body is the least interesting thing about you. And that really messed me up because I've never had that happen.
Man, if I don't have that, then like, I'm nobody.
It's like, yeah, it's insane, the identity crisis. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to another Heygirlhey episode. I'm Kaylin, and again, my co-host Lori is not here with us, but one of my good friends, Natalie, she's here again. So welcome back, Natalie.
Hello. Thank you so much.
I'm like, maybe one day we'll have sound effects, but
Listen, that
for
would
now
be cool.
we can have this.
Yeah.
Yay, cheers. Speaking of cheer, I'm just
Perfect segue again.
Oh man. Alrighty, enchantment.
Yes.
What was an enchanted thing that happened to you?
Listen,
this week?
We got some
Y'all,
Starbucks.
let's just take a minute.
to ASMR.
Right. Wait, are you? Oh my gosh,
I know the mic is now wet, so my apologies.
Wait, are you into ASMR? Maybe not into it, but like,
not to curse, but I
no, you're fine.
when I'm on TikTok, there's nothing I scroll past faster. That something about it,
Do you think that's like weird?
kind of. I think it's kind of bizarre. I can't get into it. It's something.
Me too.
It hurts my soul. Like just there's something about it that's just like really like.
Okay, I was somewhere. I think I was at church like volunteering or something, and we all went around and said our icks, and that was my ick is ASMR videos. I cannot relate.
No,
That's just not my genre of content.
not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Anyway,
Yeah. Moving on
moving on
to your enchantment.
Yes, what is my enchantment of this week? I feel like I just had it. Oh, okay. Yes, I remember. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Every time I forget and then I remember. So, post dance.
Yes.
I've been trying new hobbies, getting curious about different things.
If you will.
And I was invited to go golfing. Me and Kai, were invited by our two best friends that are married. They go golfing like every weekend.
Love that.
And I knew from the jump, I'm like, golfing is not my sport. But you know what? I bought a cute athletic dress.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. It was, I felt good, looked good. You know what I'm saying?
That's half the battle.
Really. And then we went, our tea time was 6:15 in the morning.
Hello.
And I'm a morning bird for sure.
Yeah.
But that is just so early to be awake and
Functioning
doing
and
an
golfing.
activity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I tried golfing. I threw my back out.
Hello. That's crazy.
Y'all, I didn't even know that was possible. I guess, yeah, when you twist, like, duh.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I have a bad back, as I'm sure you've talked about that you
Yes.
also have
Yeah.
from dance anyway. And yeah, it just wasn't good. So golf is not for me.
Okay.
But you know what?
That's
At least
okay.
I know
Yeah.
for
you
a
tried.
fact. I tried.
tried
Gold
it.
star.
Yep.
And my boyfriend's obsessed. So that's going to be his activity.
Yeah.
I will go for moral support. Actually, so we went golfing on a Saturday. And then the next day they wanted to go golfing again. Same thing.
You said
6 a.m.
respectfully no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At first I said no. And then my boyfriend's like, babe, please, like, if you don't go, it'll be a group of 3 of us. And then we're going to get paired up with another random person, which isn't the worst thing. But they were like, it would be fun if you can just go.
Totally.
Girl, first of all, I was still in back pain. So my boyfriend, he's so sweet. He brought me pillows for the golf cart, and then he got me a blanket.
Sweet.
And then he got me like a little massage gun to put on my back.
What an angel.
He is an angel. So for 9 holes, thankfully we didn't do an 18-hole course.
That's good.
Yeah.
Not
but
as
I
bad.
just chilled in the golf
watch.
cart, was there.
Great job,
Sideline
sweetie.
cheerleader.
Yeah.
Yep. You're doing amazing, babe.
Yeah.
I filmed them. So yeah.
You got the content. That's all that
No,
matters.
for real. Content queen over here.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, that was my enchantment.
That's a good
But
one.
speaking of post-dance activities.
Yeah.
Girl. Okay, so when we first had you on, we talked about all things pro dance, auditions and being in that world and how amazing it was.
Yes, ma'am.
And we kind of at the end talked about, coming out of it, gosh, how challenging it can be, especially the longer you're in it. I feel like the harder of a time it is transitioning out of it. And I feel like any pro athlete understands kind of what we're going through and still going through. I mean, we're post 2 years now?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like a lifetime.
So let's kind of just back it up to our team specifically, the Cardinals. We do have a 4-year cap. And basically that was announced going into our third season. Yeah, going into third, it was COVID. It was our COVID year. So basically that year, as everyone knows, was really weird for all of us. But I remember we were all on Zoom and they just said like, hey, if you would like to extend your contract another year, we're not going to have auditions. We're just going to have the returning team come back. So yeah, that was kind of the opportunity that was presented to us that year. And then when we did decide to extend, it was also made known to us that they were introducing a cap of 4 years. So going into our third year, realizing like, oh wow,
man.
Not only is this my third year, next year will be my last year.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of girls, we had another thing to note. We had a big class of fourth years where that was their fourth year.
Yeah. Which would have been me.
Which is so my gosh. Yes.
Hello.
So talking about how all things work together for your good.
Do you know what I mean?
In Jesus' name.
Yeah, it's like you don't know what's happening when it's happening, but makes sense in the end.
So yeah, just to kind of remind everyone, you made it your rookie season. And then unfortunately you were cut what would have been your second year. So you had a gap year, so to speak.
Yes.
And then you made it back for your second year. And then our third year was COVID year, but you would have been in that class of girls.
Had I had made it.
Had you had made it the year
so COVID would have been my last year.
Crazy.
No, I think about that all the time. I'm like,
girl.
Blessing in disguise.
No, honestly. That's amazing, Natalie. For real. I always forget that happened.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, yeah, me too.
Sorry to open up all the way.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm dead.
I think about it constantly, but yeah, totally. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm dead. Man, but yeah, so our team has a cap on it, 4 years, and traditionally, okay, from my experience, for auditioning for Dallas, on there you can audition as many times, I think, but traditionally you have the opportunity to cheer and dance for 5 years, and then I think you're honored with a ring. Same thing with Cardinals. They give you a ring after your 4th year, but that is when girls leave, is typically around 5.
Yeah.
And then I think other teams do have caps.
Now they do.
Why is this a new...
Like, logistically, I understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I understand here,
yeah, do you know what
but honey, in the heart,
it hurts.
A dagger, truly. Yeah. So what were your thoughts, I guess, when they did announce that?
I mean, obviously I was disappointed. I think I always, and not that 1 year makes that big of a difference, but I think I always envisioned myself at least doing 5 years.
I agree.
And then like kind of going from there. But yeah, it's sad. I think, to kind of dive into this a little bit, there's not really like a lot of dance opportunities in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So it was like to be, on a professional team and, doing something that you love, and then all of a sudden to find out that it's going to be like cut short was hard.
Yeah.
So it's like, that just kind of raised the question of like, what do you do now? It's like, do you move states to keep cheering? And it's like, you did that, and I'm so proud of you for that. But I'm like, me being the anxious girl that I am, I'm like, can I leave my family? You know what I mean? It's hard. It's a hard decision to make. So it's like, I don't know. I think that it made things just more difficult. That it was just like, man, like, I'm done dancing is what you're telling me. So that's just kind of how it felt.
Yeah, and I remember at the time I was like, oh, okay. Like I kind of just like shrugged it off.
Yeah.
It didn't really hit.
Yeah.
And then when it became my 4th year, I just kept reminding myself like, okay, it's my 4th year, my last year. I'm going to make it count. I'm going to, participate in everything, really soak everything in, be, very grateful. And you're grateful, obviously, all the time, but just really savoring those moments. And I remember getting my ring at banquet, and I remember, driving home, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I know that people are telling me that I'm retired.
Right.
People are telling me like, constantly, hey, last year.
Yeah.
But in my heart, I'm like,
I'm not done.
I'm not done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think, okay, so after, in case you can't tell, I had a rough time transitioning.
In case you can tell we're struggling.
Yeah,
but yeah.
struggling hard. Anyway, so I was, we retired in 2022. Definitely needed to try to unpack these feelings, was asking some bigger questions in my head and stuff. Anyway, so I ended up going to my now therapist. I've been seeing her ever since, ever since end of 2022.
Okay.
So anyway, one of the things she helped me realize, because I kept saying like, we had a cap and like, I knew it was coming. But then when it came, I'm like, why do I feel like this? And she was like, well, Kaylin, people can tell you that you're going to retire, but it doesn't mean that you were ready for retirement.
Right.
And that was really huge for me to hear, because it's almost like, I don't know, the voice in my head was like, well, why do you feel this way?
Yeah.
You should have known.
It's incredibly validating to hear.
No, it definitely was for me, and feeling like, okay, I'm not ready to dance. Now what? So for me, like you said, I did seek other dance opportunities outside of the state. And man, that brought me so much clarity, because that whole experience, okay, not to be so dramatic, but
be dramatic. It's okay.
Y'all, there's like, I feel so bad saying this.
Whatever, just say it.
There's like NFL teams. There's Dallas.
Okay.
It is so intense.
Wow. No, honestly, yeah, their process is intense.
Listen, there's a reason why they have a show. They are what they are. Their brand is so recognizable.
Yeah.
That audition's hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I honestly felt like I cheered a whole season.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm just like a couple week period or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that.
Because, okay, let me just put this in perspective. Our audition process with Cardinals, 2 weeks maximum.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
When my rookie year was a week.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. A weekend.
A weekend and then a week.
And then a week. Yeah. So within a week, if you made the team.
Yeah.
So you have your life up in the air, so to speak, for a week.
Right.
Because I know girls come to our state as well to audition that are out of state. And, am I moving? Am I not? Like figuring out hoteling stuff. That's only a week long endeavor.
Yeah.
Y'all, in Dallas. Again, if you watch the show, you understand what I'm saying. First of all, we submit a video around beginning of May. Submit my video. That's round 1.
Yeah.
They look at my video. Oh, okay, this girl can dance. They then send me their choreography. That's round 2. I learn the choreography. I do their kick line. I send back my video.
Yeah.
They invite the candidates they want to see in person to the in-person audition. That's round 3. And I didn't know I made it into round 3 until the night before I decided to move. I wanted to move regardless.
Yeah.
But the night before, I got the email saying, hey, you made it to finals.
Yeah.
So happy.
Yeah.
But that was end of May. That was just a month. And the real audition hasn't even really began.
Yeah, right.
So then
I'm virtual.
Yeah. So finals, we were sent more choreo, I'm pretty sure, if I can remember. Yes, we were.
Yeah.
Yes, we were. And then we were expected to perform our new solo on finals.
Yeah.
Then we're in finals day, nerves. That's what everyone saw on TV. And then you're invited to training camp. I'm sorry. Now buckle up, y'all, because man, that experience. A training camp this year was cut short too. So the training camp, I think in total was like a month long. I only lasted a week, but man, all that. So from top of May to end of June, honey, that's 2 full months.
Yeah. And you still didn't.
I didn't make the team. I'm sorry. Just recapping everything.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Again, so when I mean like, there's NFL teams and there's Dallas, their audition process is just so extensive.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if any other team's audition process is like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I could be naive. So I don't even know if any other teams operate like that, where it's like months and months. But again, that's kind of how they do it. But yeah, it's a lot. So
not for the week.
It's definitely not for the week. So yeah. Anyway, so oddly enough, I felt fulfilled.
Good.
Like with my dance chapter.
Oh, good. Okay.
With my professional dance chapter, I felt fulfilled. I'm like,
That's
I went
awesome.
for something wild and exciting.
Yeah.
And so I left there feeling fulfilled.
I love that.
But however,
that was short-lived.
asterisk. Although I know in my heart, okay, I'll speak for myself. I know in my heart, I'm done dancing. Like it kind of resonated with me in training camp. I'm like, not that I gave up, but I was like, you know what? I'm so grateful for my time of pro dance. And this is I know I can do it, but do I want to do it?
Sure.
The Lord did lead me on that path to show me like, you know, this isn't really what I wanted.
Yeah.
But that's only my experience.
Sure.
But anyway, do you feel in your heart 2 years post that you're like done dancing?
No.
Okay.
It's so interesting because I'm like, and maybe that's, I can't even think of the word that I would use to describe it, but I'm just like, so I still take dance classes now. Like,
that's awesome.
I missed just like moving and.
Oh yeah. Don't you take like contemporary classes?
I do, yeah. I started
beautiful.
taking contemporary classes again. And there's like a little, you know, like recital that happens with that because it's at like a normal dance studio you would like take your child to. So like there's still like a small, you know, performance aspect to it. And it's like, I just want to perform. Like, so that just brings me so much joy. So I'm like, that's really the part I think that I miss about it. Yeah, I don't know. So it's like part of me feels like I'm not done dancing, but I think I'm trying to come to terms with the fact that it's like, maybe that's not pro cheer anymore. So it's like, maybe I just dance for me.
Amen.
And it's something, you know, like I'm fulfilled by the class. Like I will
awesome.
say that, you know, like I feel like I leave feeling like dance is just such a way for me to like express myself because I'm not a very like vocal person. Well, and you're like, you're not?
I'm like, why are you here?
You're like, why are you lying? Me having something to say about everything. But no, when it comes to like emotion, like in a relationship or, you know, like things like that, I think I have a hard time like speaking up in that kind of sense. So I feel like dance has always been my way of me expressing my emotions. So it's like to have that aspect of it back again, I'm fulfilled in that way. So
that's so beautiful.
Yeah. So it's like, I think I just try to come to terms with it that it's like, maybe I just need to like, let that be what it was.
Yeah.
And kind of do what I can. But it's like, man, I'm 30 now. You know what I mean? It's like I'm 30. It's like my body doesn't move. You know, I'm sore after those. You know, so it's like,
girl,
I get like whiplash just from like doing something.
I'm throwing out my back. Just you know.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I try to be realistic that I'm like Nat, could you really still do it? You know what I mean? And it's like maybe I could. I don't know, but it's hard to say. It's just like it's funny how fast you lose it.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen. I'm just like, I'll always be flexible. I'll always be this. And then it's like, whoa.
Yeah, rude
sadly
awakening.
Mistaken.
Yeah, it's so funny
you
how...
use it, you lose it.
No, it's very true.
Actually,
yeah, it's not like riding a bike. At least not for my body.
No.
Some girls are just naturally... Like my sister's never danced at all. My sister is so flexible.
Yeah, I love that for her.
Literally. Like, must be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like everyone goes through it so differently.
Yeah.
And like arrives at that conclusion of like, okay, yeah, I do feel fulfilled with my pro dance cheer career. Yeah. And it's time to do something else. And I think it's beautiful that you're moving for you. Can I be honest? I haven't stepped in a dance class in a year.
I thought that's okay though.
I've never, ever taken time off. Just to give more context, like, I'm so grateful because I have had a long dance career. Yeah. So I danced from 18 to I think 24,
that's awesome.
25,
yeah.
8 seasons.
It's a good run.
Good run.
Great
of course.
Run.
I'm thinking my boyfriend, he's been so patient with me through, you know, this time of not dancing anymore and kind of grieving that chapter of my life and stuff. And he's like, babe, most NFL players and NBA players like only, you know, play for 3 years. Like on average. Yeah. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And he's like, to do 8 seasons. He's like, that's incredible. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, that was an amazing thing. To think about it, yeah. But also, again, the longer you're in it, the harder it is to come out. I'm a firm believer of that. Yeah. And kind of diving into more of this, like my whole adulthood was constructed around I'm a pro cheerleader. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I don't know how to be an adult without that title.
Who am I without that?
Girl.
That is the question that actually haunts me.
No.
Actually.
Daily.
It's
all
daily
consuming.
Thought. Yeah.
So again,
so glad we can both say that, because honestly, it's like you feel kind of alone in it. That I'm like, does anybody else feel like this? Like, why is this so hard for me? Because nobody really like talks about it.
Yeah,
and so like, what do you do after that, or like, who are you after that? Because it's like that. Maybe this is, I don't even know what you would call this, whatever, to say this, but it's like, I feel so boring. Like without, I was like, that was like the coolest thing about me. Like, I'll never do anything cooler than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sure I will do other cool things. You know what I mean? I try not to be hard on myself, but it's like, that's the thought, that it's like, everybody thinks, that's the coolest thing ever. I know everybody's like, it doesn't matter what other people think. And I agree. Like, obviously at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter what other people think, but it's like, when you're not doing that anymore, then people are like, oh, like, you're not, I don't know, whatever. So it's just like, it's sad, when people can't like ask about that, or kind of, people know you as
yes,
that.
You took
like,
the
whether
words
you
out of my
like
mouth.
it or not, that is how people know you.
Yeah.
So to like not do that, it's just feel, you're like, man, if I don't have that, then like, I'm nobody.
Yeah. No, it's literally, it's so weird going from having status, that title, that platform, and then all of a sudden you get your ring and
they're like,
bye.
See ya.
See you never.
No, actually.
Back.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, you're in, and I don't know about your experience, but when you do have that title, people are so enamored by that, and they are curious about that and are excited for you. And, so it makes you think like, I'm important. People care.
Right.
And this is who I am.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to turn that off.
Yeah.
Especially when you're being told to turn it off and you don't want to turn it off.
And I'm like, but no, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm still there. I should still be there.
No,
that should be me.
No, honestly. Yeah. It's insane, the identity crisis.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen the Barbie movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like bawl your eyes out during the movie?
I did at the end. When it was like the speech about like women or whatever. Yes. It was like talking about mothers, and I was like, I love my mom.
Okay. Yes. Okay. That speech is iconic.
Yeah.
Okay. Cut to about like 5 minutes before that scene.
Okay.
It's gonna connect. It's
gonna connect.
Okay,
for sure.
Okay. It's where Barbie, she doesn't think she's pretty anymore.
Yeah.
And she's like on the ground crying, and they're like, "Why are you crying?" And she's like, "I'm not pretty anymore."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What? You're pretty. You're so beautiful."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "If I'm not pretty, then who am I?" Girl,
that resonates.
When I say, first of all, I was trying to see the fun summer movie that Barbie is. I wasn't expecting to be slapped in the face, because
with reality,
this was the same weekend I got cut from Dallas.
Oof. Bad timing.
Or divine timing.
Depends on how you look at it. Yeah.
Depends on how you look at it.
It's
but
better outlook.
No, for real.
Yours
So I'm
is,
in the theater. She's saying this, like, if I'm not pretty, who am I? And in my head, I'm like, if I'm not a cheerleader, then who am I?
Yeah.
And when I say I ugly cried.
Yeah, sobbed.
No, I like had to turn my head, and I just was like trying to be quiet because I was like visceral reaction.
Yeah.
And my friend, first of all, I've been in Dallas 2 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
I met these group of girls 2 minutes ago, and they invited me to this movie. So sweet.
They're like, "Are you well?"
They took me under their wing. Yeah. The first time I'm meeting half of them, and they're like consoling me. So sweet. But also they're like, dang, what is this girl going through?
Yeah.
It's just a cute little movie. Why is she crying? It's not even about the speech.
Yeah, right.
And then the speech got me.
Yeah.
So yeah, just seeing that clip of like, man, if I'm not pretty, who am I? And I also really connected. I'll try to tie it all back around to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But as a little girl in middle school, I had glasses, braces.
Oh, yeah.
And this is really embarrassing, but I remember praying like, man, if only I could be pretty. Like I would be so happy.
Yeah.
Like if boys would notice me, I would be so happy. Like just kind of like those preteen thoughts or whatever.
Sure.
And then as I've blossomed into the woman I am, and getting told by professionals like, wow, you're so talented. You're so beautiful. You're so pretty.
Yeah.
You're perfect. And you're getting told this
all the
every day of your life.
Yeah,
all the time by strangers. Your body's perfect. You're so perfect.
Yeah.
You're perfect. You're perfect. You're perfect.
Yeah.
And then one day
it's gone. Crickets, babe.
Yeah. I just wasn't expecting that to all end.
Yeah.
And I remember, not venting, but like kind of pouring my heart out to my sister.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this, but my body started changing after I was done with the audition process of Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And my clothes weren't fitting me. And that really messed me up because I've never had that happen. You know, I've always been super active and never had to think about my weight. Never
a concern.
Never a concern. I just, my body naturally,
I'm just naturally skinny.
Yeah, naturally fit, naturally skinny. Like I can eat, but it, doesn't
affect
me. Yeah, honestly, I'm just being honest. And then,
same. I understand.
So I was telling my sister, like, man, I've gained like, at this point, it was like 10 pounds. I'm like, I gained 10 pounds. I'm not fitting into my clothes. Like, I don't recognize the girl in the mirror anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just thought I never gained weight or whatever.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she was like, Kaylin, your body is the least interesting thing about you.
Mm.
And I really needed to hear that because it's like, when you're told how beautiful you are and how great you look for so long, and then when you step out of that world and you just don't look like that anymore, at least body wise, and even like appearance wise, it's like I'm not getting full glam anymore.
Right.
I'm
like, I just look ugly all the time.
Dead. No, you're not. Obviously, you're not ugly.
No, but it's like, you don't get ready. It's like,
I can't even remember the last time I put lashes on.
Please.
And there was a time where I wore lashes every single
single
day.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm sure for you, it's like, getting your hair done in the salon and getting your spray tan, like having that routine on lock.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I don't need to do that
anymore.
Yeah.
Can't remember
it's
last
just
time I
the
got a
most
spray tan.
bizarre thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's been kind of what I've been battling through. But have you been going through similar things in terms of like beauty or like body stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, thank you for sharing all of that, by the way.
Of course.
I mean that. It's like, I feel like it's not an easy thing to talk about.
Yeah.
So, that was huge. But no, I definitely experienced that as well. I feel like, especially with the body image stuff, because it was how it was like you were dancing so much and doing all these things that it was just like, and my whole life I've just been naturally like thin or fit or whatever. So I never even gave it, a second thought. But it was the same thing for me. It was like, I suddenly gained like 20 pounds and had to buy, again, all new clothes. None of your pants are buttoning. And I was just like,
no, girl,
what's happening to me? You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
it's just like, but in reality, it's like, it's just like normal,
it
it's
is
like,
normal.
I probably like, and looking back, what's interesting is like now looking back on those photos, I was like, man, I was kind of like underweight, it's just like, so it was kind of just like a reality check that like in that moment, I remember feeling like not huge, but like being worried so much about like what I looked like. And in reality, it was like, hey babe, you could have probably actually, this weight was needed.
Yeah.
So it's just like trying to, I guess just like come to terms with like how my body has changed and that like it's okay. And also like how you said, it's like, I'm not 20 anymore.
Yes.
My body will never look like that again. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, but easier said than done.
100%. And 100%. It's the most bizarre thing, but also, like you said, the most normal and natural thing.
Yeah.
And as a woman, again, your hormones change and as you age, your body shouldn't look the same. It'd be weird if you're 40 and you look like you're 18.
Yeah, it'd be
You have a
very
body of an
strange.
18. Yeah, very strange. So it is a very normal thing. I just think coupled with the fact that you are experiencing grief. That's what we're going through is grieving, like a season of our life. And so with having our feelings towards that and then also seeing the physical change kind of manifest in that way, I'm like, wow, retirement's crazy.
Do you know what I mean? It's like as if I wasn't suffering enough.
No, and then now I have a physical reminder.
Sprinkle the weight gain.
No, honestly. And I know so many athletes go through that.
Yeah.
Of just like, again, having an athletic body, toned, fit, everything's like, tight, looking good.
Tight and toned, babe.
And then all of a sudden, how am I going to duplicate what I was doing in that season to now?
Yeah.
I don't need to dance 6 hours for what?
Right.
I can't. replicate that same.
I physically cannot.
I can't. There's no way. So yeah, and I think for me, I found a lot of, I guess, freedom in moving for myself.
Yeah.
Even though for right now, I'll be honest, dancing is just too sad right now. I don't know why.
No,
I feel like I'm building it up in my head, like, oh, when I dance, like it's gonna be sad. But I also haven't had like a yearning to dance, which has never happened to me.
Okay.
So I feel like I am going through that just like on my own, like when I'm ready to move. But I've been finding freedom in just like I used to go to workout classes, which nothing against workout classes. Yeah. But again, it's in the same mindset of someone's telling me what to do. I'm following this coach.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like comfortable, but also like, I don't know. I'm trying to really just move for myself.
Yeah.
So for me, I've just been creating my own workouts and, moving whenever I want to move. And if I don't want to do something, I don't even know. Yeah. I don't do it.
Yeah. It's honestly though, like it's kind of as hard as the grieving process is like that part of it is like kind of freeing in a way. That like freedom of like being able to like do what I want and not worry about how you look in a certain outfit or you know without a second thought.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you are expected. It's part of the job to, look a certain way. And that's all expected and understood. And willingly so. Yeah. And also it is awesome to be like, wait, I can eat whatever I want. Yeah. And obviously there's natural consequences, gaining weight, whatever. Sure. But that's my choice. And then also I can wear whatever I want. I can post whatever I want. Yep. I can do whatever I want. Yeah. Like that part of it is really freeing. It's like, wow, for the last 8 years of my life, being an adult consisted of
following rules
and the guidelines and making sure I'm on my P's and Q's
of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Being perfect. Yeah. Always having a right answer or you know what I mean? Just so many things. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, even arriving on time, it's like, I can be late.
No, I physically can't anymore though. Can you?
I feel you. Oh no, I am always still early.
I arrive
15 minutes.
I was going to say 30. Honestly, like I give myself a ridiculous amount of time. I just can't help it. Like
even at work.
Yeah.
It's just something that's
it's ingrained. Like forever.
Yeah.
Which honestly I'm not mad about. Like
no, being punctual is awesome. Yeah. But even that, I'm like, wow, if I wanted to be late, like I could.
Yeah. and I'm not going to get fired.
Yeah. There's no consequences. Yeah. No, literally. But oh man, that part is crazy. Yeah. Okay. Speaking more into like feeling fulfilled and, I mentioned this in our other episode too of, how in the documentary of, Dallas that's out right now, they, touch on, one veteran on the team was like, you're constantly told to not make DCC your identity. Yeah. But isn't it? Yeah. And again, honestly, girl
felt. Yeah, I hear you. Like
okay, yes. So we both felt that, like you're recognized for that. That's all people know you for, really, for such a long time, and now transitioning out of that. Yeah. How have you kind of navigated finding fulfillment and finding identity outside of your dance career?
Man, honestly, I'm like not to completely trauma dump on everybody.
No, you're fine.
But that was such an interesting time in my life because my dad passed away. Yeah. And then days later we had the banquet. And then, obviously I wasn't going to not go to the banquet, but it's like, and then.
Oh wait, sorry to interrupt. The banquet.
Also. For everybody that everyone's like, what are you talking about?
What is your banquet? So basically at the end of the year to wrap up the season, it's like our last thing we do as a team. Yeah. And it's where if you're a fourth year, you get your ring. But basically it's a time we do like team awards for the season. Just like
kind of reminisce,
watch videos. Yeah. That's your last time you're with your line. Yeah. It's really special. We do like gifts. Yeah. It's just like we have a formal dinner.
Yeah. And end of the year. That's how we just like wrap up the season.
Yeah. Basically. Wrap up the season. Yeah.
But So again, like my dad passed days later. I'm going to the banquet, and then maybe, like a month or so after that, I filed for divorce. So it was like bam, 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 it's just like everything I would have known about myself. Obviously I'm still a daughter because my mom, is still living. But it's like at the time it was like, I'm not a daughter, I'm not a cheerleader, I'm not a wife. It was just like, man, like, who am I?
Yeah.
And that was, I just can't even, it was a rough time. And I'm still in therapy, but like, started going to therapy again because there was just like so many emotions. Like, I don't even know like what to say other than that, but it was just, such a hard time. But I think being able to like process those and like talk through those, I think was incredibly helpful. And I think just finding like what makes me again.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you even do that? You know, it's just like that was a process in itself. It's hard to find that because it's like, again, it's like dance was always my personality. So it's like, how do you, I don't want to do any other hobbies. It's like dance is my thing. So it's like, that's, how do you let that go? Yeah. So that was incredibly difficult. But
man, I do want to say, Natalie, like, obviously I was with you our last season together, and we got the honor to be captains our last season. That was so special. And I remember being at mini camp. For those who don't know, mini camp is the first thing we do as a team. So kind of full circle.
Kick off the year.
Yeah, that's how we kick off the year. That's like our first team bonding big thing for a whole weekend. Mm-hmm. So we were just at mini camp, and you were being very vulnerable and telling some of the girls kind of what you were going through. And I remember thinking like, this girl is the strongest girl I've ever met.
Stop. I'm like, stop, I'm going to cry.
And even I think so highly of you, even more so, because man, talk about loss on like times 10. One of those things, just me, I'm like, I'm only retiring and I'm having the roughest time ever. Yeah. But to go through all those events at once, I can't even imagine how hard that must have been. And, I was with you during that time, and you've handled it with such grace.
Thanks.
And I just love how you wear your heart on your sleeve, but also you're willing to just be real.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people kind of suck it up or just pretend like, oh, everything's fine or whatever. But you're like, no, I'm going through it.
I'm hurting.
I'm hurting, and I will make it out of it, but it's very real. Yeah. So, I just can't believe that happened, honestly.
It was, I'm like, that was probably one of the worst years of my life.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Being real. Yeah. Like, it was the best in certain senses because, those were our last few months cheering, doing all the things. So it's like, there were pros and cons, for sure. But, man, that was a tough year. But I don't know. Anyway,
yeah. And I will say, also this is another commonality that we've kind of bonded over and just like helped each other walk through. But I know, it seems like typically when your pro career kind of closes, some girls on the team, like our other teammates that was their last year, they had other events to look forward to, such as like, new life events, like they were getting married, or some girls even were expecting and stepping into motherhood after their time as being on a team and being a pro cheerleader. And for you and I'm
like,
girl, crickets.
No, absolutely nothing. I'm like, not only am I not getting married, I'm getting divorced. So
no, but honestly, and it's like, okay. And it's like in a perfect world, which we've seen a lot of our teammates kind of have that laid out for them is, they have their last year, they get engaged during their last couple seasons, and then after they retire, they have a wedding to look forward to, and after their wedding, they're stepping into motherhood, and there's just like so many beautiful life events that happen after cheer. But I feel, speaking from my experience as a single gal and just coming out of that, I'm like, dang, what is there? Like, what is next?
It's like it feels like there's nothing.
It feels like there's nothing. Yeah. I mean, it's real. And it's so easy to, honestly, what those thoughts were lies.
Yeah.
Like straight up lies. Like we're interesting because we exist. We're interesting because you're Natalie and I'm Kaylin.
Right.
And, you know, we're alive and we have giftings and there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
And obviously I can tell myself that all day long. But when you're also battling, man, grief, I feel like the lies can sound like truths when you are grieving.
Totally.
And so that's one of the reasons why I started going to therapy. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why you started going to too. Cause it's like, dang, I'm having a rough time where these lies do sound like the truth.
Yeah.
And like my feelings feel big and
huge.
real. Yeah. And yeah, it really is an identity crisis. Yeah. But also I think I'm so grateful you were even willing to have this conversation because the feelings around it are so nuanced. And also it has been cool to slowly come out of it in my own timing. Yeah. And explore other interests or finding my passion, but in different ways in how I was gifted as an individual. But for me, it was slow. Like, for instance, I look at people who like, I went to college. I have a business management degree or whatever. Yeah. But I wasn't thinking about long-term goals. I was fully invested into my dance career. And so now I'm like, okay, now that chapter has ended, what else am I passionate about?
I have to focus on work.
No, but honestly. So that also kind of impacted like now my career choices and like, what do I want to do? And like long-term things. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, just being completely transparent. It's like, man, what lights myself on fire, like on game day, like that same feeling, oddly enough, I get while doing this. It's like, like connecting on the, you know, conversations like this, or I just love that kind of stuff. But that came later. I didn't know I was going to do that when I was first transitioning out. And I love how you also have found that gift of dancing for yourself. I feel like that's huge. And I'm looking at you, I'm like, man, I want to get there so badly. Like actually a week ago, I was listening to the new Ariana Grande album. I freaking love her new album.
Yeah. I don't think I've listened to it.
Oh my gosh. Have you heard The Boy Is Mine?
I have heard that song. She's weird now to me. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Personally weird. Yeah. Okay. Person aside. I'm talking about the aughts.
For sure.
Her aughts of her songs. I love that song. And when I was driving, I was like, you know, when you listen to a song as a dancer, you think of a dance.
Immediately.
The
choreo's in my head.
It's just like a part of you. And that was one of the first songs so long where that came back.
I love that.
And I was like, man, this would be such a good dance. And I'm like dancing in my head. I'm like, okay, that spark is still there. Aww. And that was really cool.
Yay.
So I'm hoping that one day, you know, I'll be able to dance for myself and kind of heal that part. But for right now, it's just a little bit too sensitive.
No, I mean, and that's okay. You know, I think it's like there's nothing wrong with that. Like everything in your own time. There's no timeline. Like
that's very true.
It's maybe like a cliched like therapy thing to say, but it's like that grief has no timeline. But like actually, because it's like honestly, there's days that you're good, and then there's other days that it's like this still hurts. So it's just like every day is different, and it's not linear. It's all over the place. So
no, that's so true.
Whenever, you know, you feel ready, you'll know.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, thanks, girl.
Yeah.
And no, for real, I really need to remind myself that grief is not linear. And I think it's been such a joy to have you in this season of my life, like transitioning out of something so amazing that we're both so grateful for. Yeah. And also I really just want to encourage even the girls watching in a similar boat to just talk about it. Yeah. Whether with a professional, whether with a teammate. Like I remember thinking, man, I'm the only one experiencing what I'm experiencing. Yeah. And then, you know, you and I just normally hang out and I'm like,
are you hurting?
I'm like, hi, my pants don't fit and me sad all the time. And I'm going through an identity crisis. But it has been helpful to kind of process my feelings and stuff with you and with my therapist. And I just hope that other girls out there who are no longer, you know, dancing and are transitioning out, that they would not be afraid to kind of vocalize those feelings and explore different interests no matter how hard it is and in your timing. And also don't let other people rush you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of shame in,
Yeah. Yes, I do.
just, give it up or hang up the palms or whatever. Like, I'm sorry, but you can dance for as long as you want, as long as your body's healthy, as long as you love it. And the only person that determines that is you.
Right.
Cap or no cap or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, honey, if you want to go dance,
keep dancing.
Keep dancing. Because that's a beautiful, beautiful gift. And that's a beautiful chapter.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, my sweet friend, for coming back.
Any old time.
Yes, we love it. We are planning on having you back on to discuss other topics and stuff.
Okay.
So get used to seeing my girl.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to record with Lori as well. Yeah. It's just been harder.
When she's healed.
Yeah, when she's healed.
Yeah.
Anyway, prayers for Lori.
Yes.
And thank you so much for watching, you guys. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.